Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pitch Blitz podcast. Christian Pulisic fires America through to the round of 16. Senegal and Ecuador fight to the death in the final match day of their group, seeing Senegal into the round of 16. The Dutch are favorites against the USA on Saturday, but by how much? And what is the furthest we could see USA go? Stay tuned. We got a lot to cover. So once again, welcome back, everybody. Today's episode is a little bit more special than the rest. We have Sebastian Pena and Kieran Lester back on the pod. What's going on, guys?
How's it going, boys?
Hey, man.
So as we all know, USA finds themselves through to the round of 16 once again, following a World Cup, I don't even want to say dismissal in 2018. USA just didn't even make it. So this is a big game coming up on Saturday. This was a big game for USA versus Iran. For both sides, this would have been Iran's first ever achievement as a soccer federation moving on to the round of 16. USA finishes off the game 1-0 following a Christian Pulisic goal in the 38th minute from a Sergiño Dest header into the box. Christian Pulisic then, as we know, left the game at halftime, did not come back. He was taken to the hospital for abdominal scans. It seems like he's going to play on Saturday, and he's going to play a pivotal role just like he did against the 20th ranked side in this year's FIFA Power Rankings in Iran. So, boys, I just want to get your take on the game itself, how USA played, Greg Berhalter's tactics, his substitutions, his non-substitutions, and the role that different players played. As we know, Walker Zimmerman didn't start. Walker Zimmerman played the first two games in this year's World Cup. So just to break down, the tactics that USA used against Wales or that USA used against England and where we can see them going forward. Kieran, I'm going to go to you first. Do you think that USA could have qualified for the round of 16 earlier than they did, leaving it up to the final game of the group?
Obviously they should have won that Wales game, and I think they would have made everyone a lot less stressed out yesterday. But I feel like we all kind of knew it was going to come down to that last game, honestly, because a lot of people are picking Iran to make it out, so I think it was going to be an important last game regardless. So obviously it would have been nice to have it earlier, but I figured it was going to come down to that game anyway.
Seb, do you think the tactics Greg Berhalter used, I know that you're a big fan of Walker Zimmerman. Props to him. He plays at Nashville in the MLS, and now all of a sudden he's going up against Raheem Sterling, Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford. Are there any words of advice that you would give, let's just say, to Greg Berhalter? He calls you up on the phone tomorrow or Friday, and he says, "Hey, Sebastian, who should I start in the backfield? Carter Vickers or Walker Zimmerman?" What would you say?
After his performance, Carter Vickers, he plays at Celtic. I think he really outshined Walker Zimmerman's spot. Don't get me wrong, Walker Zimmerman for the first two games was one of the only players on that roster that plays in the MLS. All the other ones play abroad. So I think he really had something to prove. He really had, that really silly mistake against Wales, giving up the PK. But I think he really held his own in that England game, locking down Harry Kane and Bellingham and all those guys. So I think, going with either one of them is not too bad of a decision. I think it's a really hard one for Berhalter to make. But yeah, Cameron Carter-Vickers, his first start in this World Cup, and I think he killed it.
And thoughts on Gio Reyna not being selected in any of the games this World Cup? Just trying to put it into perspective is really difficult, especially when you consider Gio Reyna was and still is one of the best young teenagers that America has ever seen. He plays at Borussia Dortmund. Is there any reason and either of you can answer this, is there any reason why Greg Berhalter would put in Kellen Acosta above Gio Reyna or put in Walker Zimmerman above Gio Reyna?
This was the point. This is the only point that we should be focused on, because the game was perfect up until they played literally a perfect game. Not a perfect game, but Berhalter's tactics, I was like, you know what? He's actually doing a great job right now for the first 70 minutes. And then you sub in Kelly and Acosta. First of all, Brandon Aronson, I like Brandon Aronson. He can come in first anytime because he played really well yesterday, I think. But Gio Reyna should be coming in immediately after that. Like, I don't know why you're putting Kelly and Acosta in, and then you're just going to pack it in. And that's why you're sitting on the edge of your seat for 25 minutes, because he decides, let's just sub on like 2 more defenders and just try to ice the game, when it's like you can't draw. Like, because if we could have drawn, maybe do that, and then, we gave up 1, but I don't know what he's thinking. Gio Reyna needs to come in, and because there was no one up front. You put Haji Wright in, he's not going to be able to keep the ball. Because then if you want more possession, I don't know what he's thinking. There's no reason that he shouldn't be playing, unless there's something going on that we don't know about.
And especially how we kind of gave up in the second half. And we saw it in the Wales game, we saw it in the England game, and we saw it in the Iran game. USA completely destroyed the opposition, both possession numbers, shots on target, shots in general, 50-50 tackles. I mean, this was the first time in a very long time where I watched this game and I said, you know what? This USA team is different. This USA team has talent. They have skill. They have something to play for. I feel like the previous teams that we've seen for USA didn't have the same attitude or that mentality, because most of these guys on this team were on that 2018 side that did not qualify. So they understand defeat, which is why I think this World Cup just feels a little bit different for them. And they're all young. So they all want to go as far as they can so that in 4 years from now, when it's in our own soil, we can truly make a real name for ourselves. Gio Reyna not coming on was, I think, besides a massive surprise for a lot of people, I do think that it hurts Gio Reyna. And it hurts him mentally, it hurts him physically. You're at the top of your game and you play at one of the biggest clubs in the world, and then you go to the biggest tournament in the world where you expect to play. If you don't expect to start, you expect to come on in like the 55th, maybe 60th minute, and the coach doesn't even call your name. And it's terrible because he's a young kid, and you see everyone celebrating after the game in the hotel room, and you see Gio Reyna in the background. He has a straight face on. He's not celebrating. He's not cheering. He's not excited. So he could play for England. He was born in England. He has an English citizenship. He could play in England, but he chose USA. Greg Berhalter used to play with Claudio Reyna, his father. So I'm not sure if there's any bad blood there or what it is, but Greg Berhalter needs to address this to the media fast. Otherwise, rumors will get out. And we've seen, I was watching a few pundits yesterday. There's already some rumors that players or former players close to Claudio Reyna have said that Greg Berhalter asked Gio Reyna to lie to the media, telling the media that he was injured when he really wasn't. Whether that's true or not, there's a reason these rumors are coming out, because Greg Berhalter is not telling anyone what the hell is going on. This is your best player, and you're not even playing him anywhere.
It's concerning.
Kieran, you brought up a good point, bringing on Kellen Acosta. Not a fan of that. In my preview to the World Cup in general, especially this group, I was not a fan that Kellen was brought up. I like him. I like him as a player, but I think this squad is just a little bit different. It's not the same squad that we had in 2018. We're moving on. We have Brendan Aronson. Brendan Aronson has skill out the wazoo. If Greg Berhalter makes a substitution for the game against Netherlands, I think Brendan Aronson starts that game. I think Tim Weah needs to move to the number 9. And I think Brendan Aronson plays on the right, Christian Pulisic on the left, and keep everything else the same. I really liked Cameron Carter-Vickers, Seb. I was a big fan of him in the back. I was questioning the tactics of Greg Berhalter prior to the game starting, but I'm a big fan of how he composed himself. He never looked nervous on the ball. Never looked nervous. It was his first ever World Cup appearance, and it seemed like it was his 50th.
100% agree.
Yeah, so the questions concerning Gio Reyna are worrisome for Americans, for American supporters of the soccer team, and also Gio Reyna himself. If Gio Reyna, let's just say Gio Reyna doesn't play any more minutes in the World Cup, and as of now, there's only one game left. If Gio Reyna doesn't play any more minutes for the USA, what kind of message is that sending to the rest of the players inside that camp? Seb, do you think, if Greg Berhalter is no longer playing Gio Reyna, does that send a message to the players saying that, everything is up for grabs? Nothing is for granted. You're not going to get a spot just because of your name. What do you think that camp morale is like following Gio Reyna not playing?
I definitely think a lot of the players are going to be doubtful, because you could be on a top team like Borussia Dortmund and not be secured a spot on your nation's team. I would honestly be surprised to see if Gio Reyna, I mean, this is a stretch, but I would be even surprised to see if he even comes back to the team. He was a pivotal role in their whole qualifying journey and them winning the Gold Cup and all of that. So for him to be invited to the team, invited to the squad to go to Qatar, to then sit for 4 games, or sorry, he played 10 minutes in the England game, 15 minutes in the England game. For you to play 15 minutes in 4 games at the world's biggest stage, I would be furious. So I think that would definitely cause a divide between coach and player. So I don't think he could trust Greg Berhalter, and I feel like the rest of the players would get a bit shaken up because they know his worth. They know that he contributes, and where does that put them? It makes them a little scared.
Kieran, do you think this was part of Greg Berhalter's tactics in not allowing the opposing coaches to understand or get to know the USA squad before their matches?
No, I think that's giving him too much credit. I think he just kind of is. He's sticking to. Listen, I think he's done a good job for the most part. Like we're talking about being in the round of 16 in a tough group, but I just think you've played your hand now. Everyone knows what. Like that game yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched it. Iran is going to pack it in, and so Tim Weah is not going to be able to get in behind like he wants to. He might be more successful against Netherlands because they're going to be pushing forward, and those guys like to go forward, like Van Dijk and De Ligt, like to play high. Those are going to be 2 of the hardest guys to get behind. But he knows Iran's packing it in, and you keep Tim Weah in basically the whole game when he is not going to be able to get in behind. The one goal we had, finally, you just had Dest make an overlap, and he got through, but you need possession and people that are going to draw defenders out, and you don't play him. You don't play Reyna. And honestly, I think you should put Pulisic in the middle, but we can talk about that later. But I think he's shown he's just going to stick to what he got him to the qualifiers, got him to the cup, and got him through the group somehow. But I think that, yeah, like you said, I think you're giving him too much credit, because I just don't think he's new to the manager position still, so he's still pretty young in his position. So I don't think it was tactful or smart moves by him.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I agree, and I also agree with the fact that Iran was packing it in. They would have gone through with a draw. So as we saw in the first half, Iran was not trying to get the ball in their final third. Iran was completely okay with playing it in the back, playing with it in the midfield. The second half is what truly worried me, especially the last 15 to 20 minutes. I was not only on the edge of my seat, but I practically couldn't watch, because this would have been a typical USA error if we let in a goal. I believe it was after Shaq Moore's, or it was either Shaq Moore or Haji Wright's attempt on a shot. It was not even a good shot in the 95th minute on a fast break, and Iran comes back the other way, put a ball into the box, and then Cameron Carter-Vickers, he pulled the
That was soft.
Yeah, no, it was very soft, and it was a good call that there was no call, but that can't happen. They got to, if they're on the counterattack, USA's got to take that to the corner flag and kill time. It's those silly mistakes that I think are going to catch up to the USA. We saw it against Wales. You know, if Walker Zimmerman didn't go 110% into that tackle when Gareth Bale was facing the opposite way of the goal, we would have had 3 points first game. England, you know, a draw was really a win for us, despite the chances that we had. But I think Netherlands is not going to be as forgiving as some of these other teams are. If we give Netherlands the same amount of chances that we gave Iran, then we're going to lose. And there's absolutely no doubting the fact that Netherlands is one of the best sides at this entire tournament. And there's also no doubt that Netherlands is not the same side that they've been in the past. A lot of people forget that Netherlands also missed out on the 2018 World Cup. The three big names were USA, Italy, and Netherlands that missed out on the 2018 World Cup. We're both going for the same prize this year. We both want to prove the haters wrong, and we both want to bring the pride back to our country. So we need to put the ball in the back of the net. That way, we don't have to worry about the last 15 minutes of the game. Speaking of that, I want to go to the game on Saturday. USA plays USA plays Netherlands in a game that truly means everything to both of these sides. Netherlands' defense is the strongest at this World Cup. And you can disagree with me, you can agree with me, however you want to feel. Looking at the back four is kind of scary. But then when you go more up the field, midfield, attack, Netherlands suddenly seems small. What is the best front three that USA can put on the field to infiltrate Netherlands' defense?
I know that towards the beginning of the game yesterday, I'm pretty sure the U.S. had I'm pretty sure they ran a 4-3-3. It was like staggered 4-3-3. I think if they switch that up to a 4-4-2, I think that with the overlapping runs, I think that they could get behind that that Dutch defense, because having De Ligt, Van Dijk, Ake, Blind in the back, that's a solid back. And then when you go further up the field and you talk about Gakpo, he's been killing it in this World Cup. But I think once you loaded the midfield with that 4-4-2, I think it'll be easier to infiltrate the back.
Kieran, do you think Josh Sargent should play the number 9? Do you think Tim Weah should move into that number 9? Who's your number 9?
Christian Pulisic is my number 9 in this game, because I think what we've seen is they are struggling to listen. We've scored 2 goals in the group stage, 2 goals, and so we're struggling to score. And it's Pulisic. The success we saw yesterday is when he kind of cut in and he was drawing defenders out, and that was when he was able to get it off McKinney, and then McKinney lifted that ball over to Dest. It's these moments where he's making these runs, he's drawing these defenders out, and that's when we open them up. So I think just having him out on the wing is kind of just, I mean, obviously he likes to cut in, but I think if you play him in the middle and you have Weah out right and you have maybe Aronson out left, I think that it's going to offer our best chances because we need to keep the ball against them because I think the midfield is going to we're going to be successful in the midfield even though you got to go against De Jong. I think we just have the athleticism that'll keep the ball moving, keep us moving. But I think you're going to Pulisic in the middle, and if it doesn't work in the first 25 minutes, maybe move them around, throw Aronson in the middle. But I think you just need to see if you need to go all out, and I think you need to make a change there because that's been the struggle.
But looking at the squad that Berhalter has put on the field in the last 3 games, what are the odds that he's going to put in Aronson to start the game?
He won't. You're right. It's just what. Listen, if you call Sebastian up, I'm going to have Sebastian, like you said. I'm going to have Sebastian put on speaker. I'm going to speak my mind to that guy. There's a very slim chance. He's going to stick with what I want him to do is that. What he's going to do is he's going to start. I bet you he starts right at the 9. Give us some size maybe against those center backs because he's probably our biggest striker, biggest aerial threat, even though we're not going to win any, I don't think. But because Sargent, you might not want to start him because of that. That looked like it. He hyperextended his leg. It looked like maybe he's not going to be 100% for Saturday. Who knows? He could be. Yeah. But yeah, I think he'll start right. I want him to put Pulisic in the middle.
Personally, I didn't think Josh Sargent played all that well in the Iran game. I don't think he had. Maybe he had one, but I don't think he had more than one ball come to him where it didn't bounce off his feet. His first touch was atrocious. I think if you, I could go on about Greg Berhalter as well, Kieran, and I think I'm not sure what Greg Berhalter is thinking when he sees. Look, Haji Wright is a good player. All right, he plays in the championship. I think he's got like 9 goals in 14 games or something like that. Those are great numbers when you're playing abroad. When you're in the World Cup, you must take advantage of those opportunities. Josh Sargent didn't. You know, there were several times in the Wales game and this game, several times ball came to Josh Sargent and you knew either 1, he was going to get the ball stripped of him, or 2, he wasn't going to do anything with it, and he was going to make a run or, whatever it is. So I'm not saying I don't like Josh Sargent in the World Cup. Maybe as a 75th minute sub I do. But yeah, Kieran, to your point, I think Pulisic is most dominant on the attack. I don't like when he plays in the midfield role and he doesn't get the opportunities to make those overlapping runs. One thing, and Sebastian, we were talking about this earlier, but one thing one player that I really enjoyed watching this World Cup, and I didn't expect it this much, was Sergiño Dest. Sergiño Dest, playing at Barcelona, obviously he's gained experience, he's gained knowledge of the game, he understands the game better, but I was worried when he was put on loan to AC Milan from Barcelona. And I was worried for the World Cup, similar to Christian Pulisic, not getting a lot of minutes at Chelsea. How is this going to impact his performances with USA? But Sergiño Dest, man, not only, his assist to Christian Pulisic is going to headline his performance so far up to this point. But wasn't it like almost every time Tim Weah got the ball, Sergiño Dest was making that overlapping run immediately? And Sergiño Dest was moving off the ball. He was always looking for that next opportunity to put the ball in the box. And eventually, his time came where he got that assist and a perfect, beautifully bliss header to Christian Pulisic. Seb, I also know you're a big fan of DeAndre Yedlin. One, did you expect this from Dest? And two, where do you think Yedlin fits in the squad after this World Cup, if he even comes back, because he's getting older now?
I definitely like what these two outside backs have been doing, Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson. Don't get me wrong, Anthony Robinson's got a bit of a heavy touch, but he's big. He's a big guy. He's a unit. He gets the job done on defense. Serginho Dest is killing it. He's all over the field. The only thing that I would critique is his services. I think they should be a little bit more in the air, not so much knee height to get picked off really easy. And to answer your Yedlin question, he's the only one that's had World Cup experience, which means 8 years ago. So he's getting a little on the older side. I think he's a great backup. He's a great addition to the team, and I think that he's really killing it on his club team. So I think him being a substitute for Serginho Dest is a really, really good move. But no, I don't think he fits with this squad per se. They play very fast paced. I'm not saying he's fast paced, but they're all young guys, so they can have the stamina and have the energy to go that distance when they're doing their little kind of tiki-taka-esque passes. But I think he would make a great addition as a substitute later on in the game.
Do you think there's any bad blood between him and Netherlands since he chose the USA over Netherlands?
Serginho Dest, yeah. I think I can almost guarantee that Anthony Robinson got the same treatment when they played England. He's got a thick English accent, and he's playing for the U.S., so I could definitely see that there could have been some bad blood there. So for Serginho Dest to be playing now his the other half of his ethnic background, I think is going to be a challenge for him, but I think he could rise to the occasion.
I like that. I don't mind that. Kieran, where do you how far do you see USA going in this tournament?
Listen, I think right now it's already I would consider it a successful tournament already. I think just getting out of the group and showing England that game was so wasn't a crazy game per se. Like the chances there weren't that many, but it was just showing them like that game proved I think we can play with anyone. Because
very entertaining,
right? It was just like watching them like English fans be scared. Like I had no intentions of us being able to possess the ball against England. And then that midfield, man. The Musa and that Adams is the player of the tournament, like the way he's been playing. And I think this game, man, I got a weird feeling. I think we could win this game. I really do. Listen, everyone, the Netherlands were actually one of my picks to win, and they haven't been playing as well. I just think just the way they were set up. I got Gapco Golden Boot too, so it's unfortunate we got a play.
Wow.
I bet on Gapco to win the Golden Boot before the tournament, and it's working so far, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. I think we can really win this game, and then the next round, I think, one game at a time, but I think the next round would be Argentina, the winner of Argentina, and somebody. I don't know. I don't think they have their other opponent yet. I know Argentina would be the next round if we did get by, if they get by too, and that would obviously be a really tough game, but I think we can win on Saturday, man. I got a weird feeling.
So the winner of our game on Saturday plays the winner of Argentina Australia.
Oh.
So
dude, Australia, be careful.
Messi's going to have a little taste of USA before he comes into Miami.
I hope so. Imagine that. I think this is obviously going to sound crazy, but don't count Australia out. The furthest they've ever gone is the round of 16.
Yeah.
And that was in 2006. They're out for blood. They want to make history, you know? Today's game against Argentina, I was texting you guys earlier. I mean, that table, crazy how that ended up. If Mexico didn't allow that last goal, it would have been it would have been decided on the tiebreaker of fair play, meaning whoever gets the more yellow cards. And Mexico had the more yellow cards, and Poland was going to go through, but Mexico let in that late goal, so that counted against them. So it didn't matter. But so Netherlands USA, winner of that game on December 9th will play the winner of Australia Argentina. This, I think, Kieran, you touched on the possession numbers with USA England. I think USA, and that's one of the reasons why I said this is the best we've looked in a very long time, is that how we possessed the ball was just extraordinary, especially in the midfield. Yunus Musa, Seb, I know you weren't the biggest fan of him. I like Yunus Musa. I will say, though, in the second half of the Iran game yesterday, he was lazy. He was, like, there were so many times where I was saying, just get him the hell out of this game, because he was hurting us. He was doing more bad than good staying in that game. But when he is fit and when he is healthy, he's a force to be reckoned with. He just turned 20 yesterday. They celebrated after the game. So who plays in the midfield is going to be the biggest factor. And is Christian Pulisic going to be healthy? He's got a pelvic contusion. I think we all know what that means. He bruised his downstairs, and I think this game is extremely manageable to win. If you look at the USA-England game, USA had about a 10% chance of winning, a 20% chance of tying, and we tied. This game against Netherlands, we have about I'd say a 30-40% chance of winning, because this isn't the same team as 2006, and this is not the same American team as 2018. Seb, how far do you think USA goes?
Yeah, I think the USA gets past this round. Again, I got a weird feeling about it. Like you said, this isn't Netherlands, and even 2010 when they made it to the final against Spain. It's teams like Netherlands and like Belgium who have so much promise, and then they somehow just choke. Don't get me wrong, the USA is included in that bracket, but the US has been a force to be reckoned with in this World Cup. So I'm not saying we go to OT in this game against Netherlands, but that would be pretty freaking insane. But I do have a weird feeling about a sub coming on and scoring a goal.
And I think this side that USA have are the team that people don't want to play. They're because we're so unknown still, and because we still have a lot of players who, even Anthony Robinson, he's a small player, he's a young player. Not many people know his name, but looking at him, besides his first touch, he's a great player, and he manages the ball well. Same thing with Walker Zimmerman, Yunus Musa, Brendan Aronson. So Netherlands doesn't want to play us. They'd rather an opposition where they know how to defend them, they know how to score on them, they know everything about that side. But USA is different. That's why I think I'm right there with both of you. I also have a weird feeling about this game. It'll definitely be close, but I think USA comes away with it. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be 2-1. We've only scored 2 goals in the group stage, but I think something's going to switch at the training grounds, and I think they're going to realize if we don't score, we're out. And I really hope Christian Pulisic is healthy, because that'll make it a lot easier for USA to see themselves through to the quarterfinals and hopefully playing Argentina. I could use a nice little draw against Australia, though. That would be pretty nice. But for the last segment, the current standings right now for the Golden Boot are really up in the air. And the players on the list are the typical players, especially when you look at who's excelling, which teams are excelling, which nations are excelling. There is one name, though, and Kieran pointed it out originally. Cody Gakpo is the top scorer at the World Cup right now. Right below him is Kylian Mbappe with 3 goals as well, and right below him is Marcus Rashford with 3 goals as well. Enner Valencia is right behind him with 3, but Ecuador are out. Kieran, is there really a chance that we could see Cody Gakpo finishing with the Golden Boot?
I don't think any. Excuse me. I don't think any more, because of the road they would have to take to keep scoring. I think I could see him getting one against us. Honestly, I think we're going to go into penalties or something, and I'm going to be I don't think I'm going to be able to watch. It's going to be one of those games I think it's going to be a long, dragged out game. And obviously the next few games would be tough as the competition gets tougher. But before this tournament, he was the one guy I was like him, and I thought Nunes was going to do some damage too. Honestly, a little biased, but I just think because those strikers, the other two were up there in age, so I thought he was going to get a lot of those chances for them. But obviously that didn't pan out. But I think I don't know if he'll win the Golden Boot now due to that, but depending on how far they go, I guess. I think there's a chance. There's a chance, but I'm not as confident as I was seeing the teams they have to play if they keep moving on.
Seb, is your future Real Madrid star, Kylian Mbappe, going to win Golden Boot?
I could definitely see him winning the Golden Boot. I don't see him coming to Real Madrid after what happened. But, it would be cool. It would be cool if he did come, swap him out for Benzema, who is getting on the older side. But, yeah, France is also another team force to be reckoned with. They beat the curse. They beat the curse of the former winner getting knocked out on the group stage. So kudos to them. But yeah, I was very skeptical going into this World Cup, but this has been a very interesting and shocking World Cup to watch. So I'm just here for the ride at this point.
I think the injuries that France have had before, prior to the World Cup and right now, no team is going through the same troubles, and understandable if your defense is that the France group is not that difficult. Yeah, I get that. Losing to Tunisia today, what are you going to do? You knew you qualified. The chances of you finishing in second were slim to none. So I think France winning their first game the way they did, 4-1 against Australia, and then their second game, 2-1 against Denmark. I think it says a lot for the side. And, Brazil right now are still favorites. Argentina has dropped a little bit. Belgium, after what Kevin De Bruyne said in the press about the chances of Belgium winning, Belgium's odds have gone down drastically. They could easily miss out on the World Cup. And just real quick, I want to go through the rest of the groups. Seb, it's very unlikely, but it could happen. Could we see Spain not in the World Cup?
I think their group is a very interesting group to watch. Japan beating Germany the first game, and then Spain tying to Germany. But that first game Spain had against Costa Rica, I think, really helped their odds with the amount of goals that they had with the goal differential. I think Japan is a very solid team. The team that they have are they have pretty good talent. I still see them winning. I still see Spain winning 2-1 against, maybe even 3-1 against Japan. So not really concerned about Spain missing the World Cup, just securing that top spot. Call me biased, but yeah.
Kieran, Group F, winner goes home, loser goes home. Croatia, Belgium. Who advances? Who goes home?
Wow. Belgium goes home. I think Croatia's their game. We saw that from any last World Cup, obviously. I think Belgium. There's just I liked them before this tournament because I think there was a lot of pressure on them because of this being kind of like that last chance for that golden generation, whatever they say. I thought, and De Bruyne, I think being the best player in the world kind of right now, obviously the best midfielder in the world, was going to lead them. And if you have him saying like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to win," like, that just shows like their their like morale. So I think Croatia goes through.
Seb, Cameroon goalie Andre Onana left the World Cup following a little dispute with his coach. Onana is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Leaving Cameroon this late in the World Cup, Cameroon cannot call up another goalie. They have 1 point. Brazil have 6. Switzerland have 3. Switzerland plays Serbia. The winner of that game goes through. Serbia cannot draw. Serbia must win. Cameroon need a win. I'm trying to read this right. Cameroon need a win and a Switzerland loss to... This one's confusing. I actually think
Cameroon,
It's
Cameroon
Cameroon can win and Switzerland can draw, but Switzerland would need to, or Cameroon would need to score like over 3 goals or 2 goals.
Yeah, I think it's 2 because their goal differential is -1. Switzerland is 0. All right, so Switzerland and Serbia lose, and Cameroon wins. I'm sorry, Switzerland and Serbia tie, and Cameroon wins by 2 or more goals.
The fact that all of this is so confusing, I really don't see it
Yeah.
going through. This is a lot of keys. There's a lot of different things, different parts going into play. Like if you were to put this in a parlay, it'd probably be like plus like 4,000 or whatever. But like this is a very, then that's an exaggeration. But this is there's a lot of moving parts in that whole thing for Cameroon to go through, losing their goalie and then like all of this stuff. However, like I said before, this World Cup has been a big surprise. There's been a lot of big upsets, a lot of big surprises. So I would not put it past this Cameroon team to pull something out, but I don't see them moving on. I see that group being Brazil and Switzerland.
Group H, Ghana, Uruguay. Winner advances, loser goes home. South Korea versus Portugal. Portugal has already qualified for the round of 16. But basically, South Korea, same exact thing. They need a tie from Ghana and Uruguay, and then they need to beat Portugal, which is no easy task. Both of you, could we see Uruguay going home with the talent that they have up and down the pitch?
Ghana has been crazy this World Cup, and I think it's going to be hard to beat them. But yeah, I can see Ghana going through and Uruguay going home.
Yeah, Ghana loves the World Cup, man. They're always playing crazy at every World Cup. Yeah, I think Uruguay needed to do something in those other games. I think Ghana and Portugal going through. Can't blow those games, man. You can't let it come down to the last game, which is what we did. But when it happens, it's
it's something about these African teams this year. They're just going off. Like Senegal missing their
Mane too.
Yeah, Senegal missing their they're Messi basically, and doing what they've done. I mean, don't get me wrong. oh my God, what's his name in goal?
Mendy.
Yeah, Mendy. Mendy is unreal back there, and I think that they just really banded together and made it work. So I wouldn't put anything past Ghana.
Yeah, we'll see if Senegal can do something against England. As we know, England do not have the best luck in European competitions. Let's see if this year is different than the rest. And let's see if the Americans can pull off a massive upset and see themselves in the quarterfinals to play the winner of Argentina versus Australia. Well, guys, unfortunately, that is all for us today. Kieran, Seb, I appreciate you guys hopping on the podcast to talk soccer, especially USA's tactics, Greg Berhalter's missed tactics, and hopefully we see Gio Reyna play in the game on Saturday. It's unlikely, but if you're American and you watch soccer, that's what is going to help you guys win. Kieran, Seb, any last thoughts before we let the fans go?
Yeah, it's kind of to agree with you on the whole Gio Reyna thing. I know that you and I went to a bar watching the England game, and when they subbed Gio Reyna on, the whole place erupted. So to see him back on the pitch for USA would be huge.
Yeah, make sure all your fans know that it is called soccer. It's called soccer. What is it? Oh,
It's called soccer.
at least you didn't laugh at me. It's called soccer.
All right, everybody. That is all we have time for today. Thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of the Pitch Blitz podcast. I'll see you guys next time. What's going on, guys? Blaze here. Thanks for watching another episode of the Pitch Blitz podcast. If you enjoyed what you saw and what you listened to, be sure to check out all of my episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music, as well as all content on my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at The Pitch Blitz. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I can't wait to see you next time.